death and resurrection. They're supposed to be beautiful miracles, right, Andrew? But what if coming back from the dead was actually the most horrifying thing imaginable? That's exactly what this haunting Russian story, Lazarus, explores.
The psychological horror aspect of Andreyev's take on this biblical story is really fascinating, Kalin. Instead of celebration, we get this deeply disturbing meditation on mortality.
You know what's wild? The way Andreyev completely subverts the traditional narrative. Here's Lazarus, who should be this symbol of divine mercy, but instead he becomes this hollow eyed harbinger of existential dread. Anyone who looks into his eyes sees something they were never meant to see, the ultimate truth about death.
Hmm. And this was written during such a turbulent time in Russia, wasn't it? The early 1900s when everything was changing.
Exactly. And Andreyev himself was wrestling with some serious personal demons: depression, alcoholism, a deep sense of existential crisis. You can feel that darkness seeping into every page. There's this incredible scene where an artist tries to capture Lazarus's expression in a painting, and it just destroys him. He never picks up a brush again.
Well, that's what makes it such effective psychological horror. It's not about gore or jump scares, it's about facing the void of existence itself.
And then there's that amazing sequence with the Roman Emperor Augustus. Here's this powerful ruler who thinks he can handle whatever terrible knowledge Lazarus carries, but even he can't fully withstand it. Though, and this is fascinating, he manages to partially resist and takes action by blinding Lazarus to protect others.
The way Andreyev handles time in the story is particularly masterful, isn't it? When people look into Lazarus's eyes, time becomes this infinite, meaningless expanse.
Oh man, that's such a crucial point. All human achievements, all our hopes and dreams become pointless in the face of eternity. But here's what I find really interesting. The story itself seems to contradict that meaninglessness. I mean, we're still finding meaning in it over a century later.
So, what do you think about how this story influenced later horror writers? You can definitely see echoes of it in Lovecraft's work.
Um, that's actually mind blowing when you think about it. Andreyev was doing cosmic horror before Lovecraft, existential dread before it became a literary movement. And what's brilliant is how he never actually describes what Lazarus saw in death. That unknowable thing remains unknowable to us as readers, which makes it infinitely more terrifying.
The psychological impact of facing the unknowable really seems to be the heart of the story.
You know what's fascinating? The way the story works on so many levels simultaneously. It's a horror story, sure, but it's also this deep philosophical meditation on death, a political commentary on the death of old beliefs, and even a deeply personal story about depression and isolation.
Well, the economy of his writing is remarkable too. Every sentence feels weighted with significance.
Like, the way he structures the story, with each encounter with Lazarus building on the previous one, creates this mounting sense of dread that's just masterful. The young newlyweds represent hope being destroyed. The artist represents the death of creativity. Augustus represents human power confronting ultimate meaninglessness.
That's what makes it such a timeless piece. These fundamental questions about meaning and mortality are still just as relevant today.
And maybe even more so in our current age of existential threats and global uncertainty. But here's what really gets me: the fact that Andreyev took this glimpse into the void and transformed it into art suggests there's hope, even in the darkest of revelations. Maybe that's the ultimate message, that even in the face of meaninglessness, the human impulse to create meaning persists.
There's a beautiful irony in that, creating something meaningful out of the very concept of meaninglessness.
Well, that's exactly it. And maybe that's the most human response possible to the void: to acknowledge it, to face it, but to keep creating meaning anyway, to keep telling stories that help us understand our place in the universe, even if that place might be smaller than we'd like to believe.